Wayne Christian. Wayne, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chad. Good to be with you today. Thank you.
Well, good to have you on the show. Since the last time we visited with you, the campaign season has kind of been focused on the national guys, and then, of course, here locally on the local elections. So tell folks what you and the campaign have been up to.
Well, we've been crossing the state, visiting with folks, and been very excited to receive almost 100% of the endorsements across the state that you don't have to pay for. In fact, we're the first team that's ever been, our first candidate, ever been supported by the Texas Oil and Gas Association, PAC, and they have endorsed us as the LC guys with their association, Texas Business Association. We also have the pro-life organization, Texas Life for Life, all the other conservative groups, and seem to be gaining behind us because we're the ones that's qualified for the job. I spent 14 years in the legislature, and we understand, as does the industry, what sunset means in this next session, which could harm oil and gas, coal, and resources in Texas.
Wayne, we've heard a lot of news, I guess, about the oil industry overall, the oil industry here in Texas. Why do you think that you are, when you go around and you speak to different groups, speak to different voters, what's the message that you tell them why you're the one that, with the oil economy where it is right now, why you're the one who's best prepared to take on not only the oil industry, but all of the energy industry?
Well, we're not taking on the oil and gas industry. We're protecting the public from the bad actors. But
right.
I think, unlike my opponents, that the oil and gas industry are the good guys in the state of Texas. Our environment is cleaner. It's better. The water's cleaner and purer because we've had a responsible industry in oil and gas. My opponent, on the other hand, says that he's going to stop production of coal in Texas, which means all of our electric rates will go up, and say he compares Texas to Red China. He said, I just got back from China, and it's terrible what the oil and gas industry can do to the state of Texas. So I'm defending the oil and gas industry because I know it's 30% of the economy, and it's 20% almost of the government's economy. So if anybody in Texas thinks they're just West Texas in oil and gas, you better think twice, because oil and gas is your schools, your roads, your bridges, your law enforcement. It's important to every Texan. And the reason I think I'm the best is I have the resume. I had 14 years in the legislature, worked 2 sessions on the Energy Committee, vice chairman of regulated industry, and oversaw the operations of the Railroad Commission for a decade and a half. My opponent has none, 0 experience in regulating oil and gas or being involved in oil and gas. Has apartments.
Visiting with Wayne Christian, candidate for Railroad Commissioner. I guess when I said taking on the oil industry, what I meant was we see the downturn here in Texas. And obviously this is something that will play into the budget for the Texas legislature. But you're going to be out there, obviously, trying to assure people that the oil industry in the state of Texas is something they can depend on still, correct?
Correct. And also to the oil and gas companies and to the citizens who work in oil and gas, all of us. Because understand we're in a downturn in oil and gas. We understand that it'll come back up. It's coming back up. I think we've already hit the bottom. But the problem is you go into this next session with something that's quite unusual to the oil and gas industry. Is we're in our 3rd session for sunset. And a lot of people do not understand when sunset is there, every tree-hugging, clean green energy, Al Gore hero can come in there with the EPA and damage oil and gas production for the next decade in Texas. They can, in this session, unlike any other, come in there with their motions to make it harder to get permits, more difficult and costly to regulate the industry, increase bonding fees, all kinds of things that will harm the recovery of our industry. And literally, when this session's over, they shut the lid on that sunset bill, and for the next decade or more, oil and gas and coal and production in Texas is never like it was before. And there's a great danger, and that's why I've been called to run.
Visiting with Wayne Christian, candidate for Railroad Commissioner. You're actually in Lubbock, Texas. I know you'll be in Lubbock this evening. You have an event. Tell our listeners about that event.
Our event tonight will be at 7 o'clock at the Republican headquarters. So anybody would like to drop by at 7 o'clock at the Republican headquarters in Lubbock, we will be there and be great to meet you.
Yeah, and shake a few hands, talk to a few people. Do you still get questions from folks who wonder why Railroad Commission is an important race that they should pay attention to?
Listen, last week was with Glenn Beck, who moved to Texas mostly because of our economy, our lack of state taxes, and other things. And I sat there and visited with him a short while, and he looked at my badge running for Railroad Commission. He asked me, well, tell you the truth, what does the Railroad Commission do? So even people that are coming to Texas to enjoy the fruits of the labors of our hardworking folks, a lot of it from oil, gas, and coal, do not understand what the Railroad Commission does. I really think this is not the session to address that particular issue with a name change. I think it's more marketing, and we need to probably put a slogan with the Railroad Commission because it's 125 years old. It's a part of our history. Those who need to know what the Railroad Commission is, and maybe just have a byline with it, with marketing like you know to do in the media that says Railroad Commission, Texas oil, gas, and resources, and have some slogan that goes with it. But changing the name is something I think would cause too much fighting among the historians and everybody else, especially. We need to get this sunset bill settled because our literal production of oil, gas, and coal is at risk.
Wayne, if you do have a new slogan, if you could work in tree hugging and Al Gore worshiping in a bad way, if you can work that in, that would be really good, I think, for the state of Texas.
Well, I think most of us that understand Texas oil, gas, and coal absolutely agree that slogan should be on top. And I've used it in my campaigns. And, of course, listen, when I first went to the legislature, Chad, almost 20 years ago, the first thing that happened is the EPA was trying to keep our good cattle raisers in East Texas from putting chicken litter on their grass to fertilize it to make it grow so it had more cows. And it was completely insane because I had a friend of mine that said that he was doing a catfish pond that they needed to prune for production to the general public. They made him dump 7 truckloads of chicken litter into the water to up the nitrogen content. I mean, the EPA is just out of sync with what reality is.
Wayne Christian, you've got an event this evening. It's at, 7 o'clock over at the Lubbock County Republican headquarters. Visit your website, christianfortexas.com, for more information. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate you.
Have a good one out there.
You too.
And he does, by the way, have the best logo in campaigns in the campaigns right now.